Well, this is a matchup in the Harmony 2012 China Open in Suzhou, part of the GAC Group 2012 ITTF World Tour that everybody has been looking forward to. I can tell you now, Zhu Xin is one of the top form players of the moment. I was watching him, in fact I commentated on the match against Ma Long in the GAC Group 212 World Tour in Shanghai in May. Zhu Xin was unplayable, he was quite phenomenal. So there's no doubt that we are going to see an extraordinary matchup. Ovtcharov, the bronze medalist in London 2012, is going to really show how improved he has been over the time since they last met, because it's 2 years since these two actually played head-to-head. They had 2 matches in 2010. On the first occasion, Dimitrij Ovtcharov was the victor. That was in March, I think in the German Open, if I'm not mistaken. And then in August, in the China Open, it was Zhu Xin who was victorious. So that was in August, so they have won all in the head-to-heads, but that was 2 years ago. And I must say that both of them have played so well. They have a great physique. They've got incredible fitness. And I tell you, the Zhu Xin, well, I think he was so unlucky not to go to the Olympic Games, because, in my opinion, at that stage earlier this year, he was superior to Wang Hao, who did get the green light to go eventually. But Zhu Xin is the player of the future, and I think we might be looking at one of these guys could easily be the victor in Rio. I know that's a long time down the line, but in terms of ambition, in terms of their skills, in terms of the way in which they play the sport, this is as good as it gets in terms of the future of men's table tennis. Gavin is still with me, Gavin Rumgang.
You're exactly right. We speak about Penhold players, Xu Xin, just a fantastic example of that. We don't have many Penhold players that still play the game. We can look back to the likes of Ma Lin and Wang Hao, who two fantastic Chinese players.
Guo Liang also.
Yeah, Guo Liang came through, and of course they managed to get to the final of the Beijing Olympics. So can Xu Xin follow in their footsteps in the future? Let's look toward 2016 in Rio.
We're underway. It's the quarter-final men's singles here in Suzhou. Absolutely cracking defensive block on the backhand for the lefty Zhu Xin, and it was beautiful. 2-0.
2-1.
Ovtcharov, from his celebrations of bronze medal, of course, in the individual. He also got the bronze in the team event for Germany. But from London, he must be on a high, but looking for something really special. And another beautiful block there, but it was one of these, well, his famous serve that we'll see in a moment. He just has that ability to improvise so beautifully. 2-all.
3-2.
The service that we just seen there from Ovtcharov, a serve that's a little bit underrated, to be honest. I've played against the guy before, and that serve is very, very useful.
He was actually given, I think, an award for the most improved style of serve, trying to break the mode and the sort of traditions of the serve. I think that serve was celebrated as one of the innovative arrangements, new arrangements as far as table tennis is concerned. It's certainly something special.
You're so right there, John. And that was actually, that happened in 2008. In the Time magazine, Dimitrij's service was put in there as one of the top 50 innovations. Absolutely phenomenal. Great accolade to have.
Everybody likes to push the boundaries, and that's exactly what Ovtcharov is doing. He's pushed the boundaries literally in nationality as well, because he was born in Ukraine and now playing in Kiev, Ukraine, now playing for Germany.
4-5.
Well, let's let the table tennis do the talking right now, because we are witnessing some phenomenal rallies. 4-5.
6-4.
What doesn't come across so well when you're sitting there at home is the amount of power on the ball that these guys can utilize. Sometimes it's not so much speed, it's severe power on the ball. It feels like you've been punched.
6-5.
We've mentioned it before, but the legs are so important, and these guys have such strength, and the fitness training that they go through, the regime to build up the power in those legs is quite phenomenal. Everything starts from the legs.
6-0.
Just look at the angle at which they sit, almost sit on their feet all the time. It's really quite phenomenal. They get low. You have to play the kind of shots that the ambition is for them to play. 6-all in the first. It's a huge match, this. Ovtcharov beats us in.
6-7.
There's a famous saying that we have in Britain of big thighs. Not many of us in Britain have the thighs of Shushin and Dimitrij Ovtcharov. It's impressive.
8-6.
Su Sin reads the serve very, very well, comes back with a counter punch. 8-6, he's got the service. Oh, that was brilliantly conceived. Talk us through that one, Gary.
That service, again, he was just playing one of his normal service patterns. Serve shot to the forehand to execute a forehand wide. That's just purely from the practice table. It's great to see Ovtcharov moving over, using his strong backhand receive. I know that he did that very, very well in the London Olympics.
Yeah, he was extremely impressive. 23 years old. Here we go. Here we go. Don't we love it? That's why we're here. Forcing him back, a little bit off balance down the line, perfect.
And from our commentary box there, John, we got a fantastic insight into that last shot.
Can I tell you, we don't normally get this close. We don't normally. This is unusual. It's your first time, I know, but I tell you, this is a privileged position. There's enough buzz around so that we're not going to upset the players, but we couldn't get any closer. Believe me, we're right by the side of the hoardings there. You can see the advertising hoardings. It is just a phenomenal position to see live.
11-8.
Okay, we take a little break there at 11-8 because that is Su Sin's first game. And he has been impressive. It was competitive in the first. Ovtcharov had his chances, but Su Sin took his better. And at 11-8 in the first, it's all over too quickly. Let me just tell you before you come in, Gavin, that on the adjacent table we've just seen former three-time world champion Wang Lijin. He's gone forward into the semi-finals as well for tomorrow. So we've got a lot of great table tennis to look forward to throughout this Harmony tournament here in the China Open. Ovtcharov comes back to the table. What about your reflections on that first game?
Yeah, well, it's like a birthday present for me. It's come early, watching the likes of Shushin, Ovtcharov, Wang Lijin on table 2 there. Phenomenal. But what happened there was Shushin was able to execute his game plan. He's all about service, third ball, fifth ball. He doesn't want to extend any further in the rally. Ovtcharov wants to be the one that goes into the rallies, 3, 5, 7 shots. So Shushin will be very, very keen to keep these rallies short.
Second game. Hugely ambitious, he rolls away. And I tell you, when you see both the Chinese players, Ma Long and going for that, and Zhang Jiqie going those shots, they on the practice tables, it's like a circus. It's not unusual for Tuzin to be going for big plays like that.
I'll tell you, John, it's very intimidating to be standing next to these guys on the practice tables. That's why a lot of the European players step away and hide round the corner.
Well, he played it from under the table, but it didn't come off. This time it does. All right, Ovtcharov has got to show a little bit of his Olympic form right here.
Let's first of all give Ovtcharov credit for getting through to yet another quarter-final. It's difficult coming from a big high to then come, you know, travel, get on the plane, come over here to China and execute. We watch another big rally. Well played from Dimitrij there. Sometimes slow conditions on this red Taraflex floor that they use for the World Tour. Again, just showing his strength, that he can hit through someone ranked 3 in the world. So Dimitrij now that's going to utilise the backhand service. Group World Pro Tour here in Suzhou, and it just gets better and better and better. Xu Xin utilising deft touch to win that rally and take a 1-point lead here in the second. I feel that Dimitrij's heart rate will still be above 100 at the moment after that last rally. And it's Xu Xin has a little bit of momentum. Big backspin serve and a big shout.
3.
And when someone like Xu Xin is coming at you with both wings, the reverse pendulum grip, then he really is flowing. He's playing well here.
3-8.
And not to be nasty to Dimitrij, but I mean it's been a tough few weeks for him. Maybe just looking a little bit flat. He had a long match last night against China's Fang Bo, and he managed to come through that one, coming back from the dead. That'll have taken a lot out of him. So it could be tough here to stay in the moment, stay with Xu Xin. It's phenomenal how much of the court that Xu Xin can cover with that one wing, that forehand. A nice put away from Ovtcharov. That ball was travelling in excess of 90 miles an hour as it hit the barrier here next to me. Still a 4-point deficit though.
5-10.
It's 5 set points to Xu Xin, and he looks like wrapping up a 2-0 lead. A little bit ambitious there. I think that was one for the crowd, or one for the circus, I'm not sure. But he still has 4 set points here. And that ball was fizzing. You could almost hear the spin from the commentary box, and it's Xu Xin that takes us into 2-0 lead. What do you think Dimitrij has to do now, John?
He is going to be very, very hard pushed to upset Susin's plan. He is definitely hurting from the fact that he was not involved in the Olympic squad, the Olympic team, and I think that he is now, because of his extraordinary talent, he is at the top of his game. I would venture to say that he would have challenged any of the players that actually were involved in the Olympics, because we saw them earlier in the piece, and he blew them away. He blew them away earlier. Ma Long, Wang Lijin even took on Zhang Jike, and well, Susin, whether it's Zhang Jike or Ma Long, or in fact Wang Hao, he has been showing such fantastic form against them all. I don't think that Dimitrij Ovtcharov, whatever he tries, is going to overcome this whirlwind of talent that is Susin. I mean, you look at it now at the moment, 11-8, 11-6 was it? And that is, I mean, it can only get better for Susin. Once he gets his eye in, he is phenomenal. I thought in Shanghai, when I watched him in May win the final there, I thought that we were going to see a future world and Olympic champion. So, I mean, short answer to the question is, I don't think he can do much.
I think that's a fair sum up. Exactly.
Great improvisation then, both players, they just give it just a little bit longer, no panic, they know they can get to the ball, but then what do they do once they get the baton ball? It's amazing. You can do it once, you can do it twice, but Susin is he just dominates and controls through consistency.
The ball kicks like a mule when he hits that forehand as well. You have to keep your racket very, very high to even get in the way of it.
3-2.
Good response there, though, from Ovtcharov. Just looking back at his performance against Chuang Chuyuan at the Olympics, that bronze medal match, he won it 4-2, and the first game was very tight at 12-10. Then it was two in a row to Chi Wan, before 13-11 to Ovtcharov. I mean, it was fantastic stuff, and in game 6 it was 14-12. So Chuang Chuyuan and Ovtcharov fought to a standstill, really. It was great stuff, despite a 4-2 win. So he's used to close battles, but I fear, you know, against Susin, he's talking about a different step, a different level, a different quality of opposition.
Let's give respect to Xu Xin after the disappointment of not being in the Olympics to bounce back as quickly as this.
Well, he's now got a gap of 3 to make up here.
It's difficult to emphasize to everyone at home how much backspin Ovtcharov can generate on that backspin push. It's incredible, very unique, very special.
Watch the counter punching. Oh, wow, it doesn't quite come off. But when you think that you're going to have to play defensive shots, the guys here at the table think in terms of counter-attacking. That's the most extraordinary thing about their play. They don't think defense, they think, how can I get back on the attack? Look at that inside-out backhand.
I remember that receive when I played doubles against Xu Xin in 2008. I was playing with Britain's #1, Britain's best player, Paul Drinkle at the time. Xu Xin was playing with Zhang Jike. He kept giving me that receive, and I was just watching it go by me.
4.
He's not a one-trick pony. There is so much to Xu Xin's game.
And one of them, which is hugely important, is enormous confidence. He just knows how good he is, which is part of the whole game, isn't it?
He exudes confidence.
Yeah.
You can see it here.
5.
It is almost
6.
conceit, it's almost arrogance, it steps back from that, but I can tell you, it just is so off-putting for any opponent.
When someone's in the state of flow and is world ranked at 3, very little you can do about that.
7-5.
Well, Ovtcharov is doing really well here in this third. He needs to do something in order to get back, at least with some kind of chance here. Believe me, he's going to have to play out of his skin to challenge Susin. Susin is going to he's going to have to dent his confidence somehow. He's going to have to get 2 or 3 points in a row and really, really upset his plans. It'll do for a start.
5.
Great little side spin, top spin serve from Ovtcharov. It did drift a little bit long, but that puts a little bit of indecision in Xu Xin's mind.
5.
Superb, early, saw it, the right option, and that's the kind of thing I was talking about in terms of putting him off his stride just a little bit, because he's got to do some things that are a little bit unconventional.
That's the sort of stuff that you see in the practice hall.
Yeah. High ball toss. And again,
5.
brilliant
10.
backhand. Well, that takes him to 10-5 in the lead. It still remains the service with Susin, but Dimitrij Ovtcharov just running around here at the minute and is very, very positive.
10.
He's got the luxury of a lot of dollars in the bank. He's already invested, and he's still got 6 million of them there, right there. 10-6, and he's got the service, of course. He can dictate the opening. And he's done it with a brilliant service. Fantastic. That was the service of a guy with a lot of confidence himself. And that brings the German player now, formerly from Ukraine, but the German representative, back into a competitive position at 1-2. Susin still himself is flowing a brilliant self. But Ovtcharov is slowly climbing back into this with some great play himself. Damn it.
This has been 3 sets of the highest quality. And to be honest, both players look quite relaxed. Ovtcharov knows that he's had a fantastic August anyway, and win or lose this, he's going to put on a show.
He is actually, he works as hard as any player in the Chinese squad, and that says a lot. He is dynamic in everything he does, and he goes, he puts in the hours, the traveling hours as well. I was in Brazil with him last year when he won the title down there, the Pro Tour. And he really does put in the workload, and that makes his ethic, his work ethic, is so strong.
Game,
and his brain is really very much together as well. He won't be fazed by this. Whether or not he can still come through, I doubt. But I tell you what, he's putting on a great show here. It's Susin in serve at 2-1 in games.
Level.
At the highest level, the penhold grip Susin has had success at the team level, obviously with China, but also in the doubles, the gold medalist in the World Championships in Rotterdam, and in World Cup as well in the team. But he's yet to really break through at the individual, the singles level. And this is the next year or two will dictate whether or not he's been considered to be one of the greats of the game.
You're exactly right there. To be considered as one of the greats of the game, you have to win 2 or 3 big tournaments. You have to win a World Championship. You have to win an Olympics, maybe a World Cup.
But he's got, I think he's got the style of Wang Liqin at his best in terms of, you know, the innovation and the development of the sport. Susin is actually at the pioneering level.
You'll never go wrong if you copy someone like Wang Liqin.
3-1.
Of course, they're different stylists in terms of, you know, obviously the pen holder versus the shake hands, but it's just there's something about him that reminds me of Wang Liqin at his best. They never like to give up a point. They hate to lose a point.
4-1.
Xu Xin there looked so strong in that squatted position again. he must have done thousands of squats over the years.
And the great thing is, he leaves himself exposed. He knows he's got to make a dynamic finish, because it's all or nothing. He's not giving any, that ball is not coming back to him. Simple as that. He's got a 5-1 now as they towel down a game. We're in the 4th game. Ovtcharov came back nicely in the 3rd, but he's struggling for form because he's not being given the space.
When Ovtcharov first came onto the scene with that serve, it was extremely effective. However, 4 or 5 years down the line, when you keep using the same service, the Chinese players will work it out.
7-1.
Well, again, I say that they are the ones that are pioneering all the frontiers. And in fact, there is, Ian Marshall has written many times, the doyen of the sport, that the Chinese have not been challenged with their innovative perspective since Barcelona, really. The innovation started there, and China have just gone bigger and better and more successful because the rest of the world has not worked it out, how to challenge and to improve. Whether it's training or whether it's in delivery, you know, in
some of the rule
matches.
changes, some of the rule changes as well. But again, it doesn't matter what's thrown at the Chinese players and the Chinese coaches, they respond in a positive manner.
And you can see it with the scoreline here at the moment at 9-2 in the 4th. And now at 10-2, 10-2, it will be Su Xin that will take this 4th game. Its service is just superb. It doesn't look to be much, but you try to read where that ball is going. My goodness. Ovtcharov, with all his experience, cannot actually read it. There was huge side spin on that one. And it's now the game. It's 11-2 in the 4th. It's 3-1 in favour of Su Xin. And can he repeat his success in the May version of the China Open, the GAC? Of course he can. He's in great shape.
I'm looking though, and I'm seeing some tactics that might be enforced from the Ovtcharov camp. I think the coach there is trying to get him to move in and out a little bit quicker, from receive of service to holding the first ball. I think for everyone here, that's all you can do against the Su Xin first forehand. You're not going to attack that one back. So you have to be, he's going to have to be a little bit quicker on his feet. In and out movements.
That was a bit unlucky. Su Xin raises his hand in apology. Ovtcharov is doing his best to put pressure on normal circumstances against a regular player. That would have been a hugely successful point, not against Su Xin. His recovery is amazing. Unusual to see him flat-footed like that, but that was a great disguised forehand.
Beautiful power down the line from Ovtcharov, keeping his racket high, exploding through the ball.
Well, Ovtcharov has a little bit of an ironic smile after that, but he will be hurting underneath, knowing that he was competitive. But just look at, again, it's the footwork. And just look at the angle of the knees there. He's below the ball. He's in great position to play it in the full flow. Wonderful, wonderful technique. It's something beautiful to watch when you're seeing players play at this level. It's 2-all in the 5th.
Phenomenal off-the-bounce forehand from Ovtcharov. He took that ball about a metre earlier than he has done in the previous 4 sets. Something he might need to use if he's going to get back into this one.
He's got to finish it early. I mean, that is exactly the only tactic that might work. Tries it again, but he's forced back.
It's a difficult one for Ovtcharov because his comfort zone is 2 meters away from the table. Telling yourself to take yourself out of a comfort zone, move closer,
yeah.
It's tough.
Well, because the ball is coming at such speed. Whatever your ambition in terms of moving forward just that half a pace, it's coming back at you extraordinarily quickly. There you go again, a perfect example. He's having to go back on his heels to play it. Forced into the body there, 4-3 in favour of Sulsin, who is really showing great form. Can anybody challenge him? He's the #1 seed in this tournament. I can't see really anybody getting close. Not the old stables of Marlin and Hong Li-Chin, of course, that we've got on the adjacent table. We also have Vladimir Samsonov. There's a few little flying objects. He's a bit annoyed to see, and we're just looking at the moment. You've not got it on your screen, but we're privileged to be able to look sideways.
I think it's Samsonov complaining a little bit about the wind,
Was it the
air
wind?
conditioning. And
Well, I mentioned that before, so but I'm surprised that he's on table 1 there, is it? No, table 2. Table 2, it's fairly central. There shouldn't be too much going on there. But hey, he's 1 game down and 2 down in the second, so that's when you can start complaining, right?
4-3.
you look for excuses at that point.
Right, here we go. It is 5th game. Sorry, 4th. Yes, 5th game. 4-3.
5-3.
5-3, and Ovtcharov will be a little annoyed that that one didn't get across the net.
3-6.
It's the deception there in Shushin's flick. From the same position, he could go to forehand or backhand.
And again, even when there's no power coming through, there's deception on the ball. The power on the spin is the one that's deceiving, or the pace. He's just got every single element of control.
8-3.
And Ovtcharov now getting frustrated. He was close in this 5th, and now he's been blown away at 8-3. Oh, you beauty! That's what happens when you have got a lead of 5 points and anything goes. The cares go out the window, the training camp comes to mind, and you put in an explosive shot, the best of which now they go into, great.
3-10.
Oh, no wonder he's smiling. He's having a laugh. He's having a laugh. That is 11-3, and that is the match. It caught up on me. I couldn't believe it. He's finished off with an absolute flourish, and even Dimitrij Ovtcharov has to put a hand on his shoulder and says, "Oh wow, you're just too good." That was quite phenomenal. Sulsin creeps up behind you like, wow. I mean, talk about a tiger. He is extraordinary. He will smack you down if you just look at that. 11-2 and 11-3. Do you know what? There was a moment there when I thought, this is over too quickly. Wow, that was something special.